know me as the class clown, but I'm going to dial it in a little bit. This is a serious speech. The metamorphosis of governance happened 249 and a half years ago. Did everybody get a copy of this? I made sure.
No.
You did not? So our country was established through a series of laws which created what's called a constitutional republic. And to have a constitutional republic, which is great because the history's been replete with pharaohs and tyrants and kings and autocrats for most of human history. So the most wonderful creation, ambitious creation, was to create a series of government that honors, respects, and protects each and every person that's a citizen of that government. Rarely ever seen in the history of mankind, quite challenging. The metamorphosis has not completely happened yet. It's still in process. Article 1, Section 8, actually Clause 11 of the U.S. Constitution, it says that Congress is the one that makes law. So if they set a law and it hasn't been followed in 80 years, it's an important law. It's designed to save lives, save treasure. If a law like that is just completely ignored for almost a century of our 250 years, this is when this law started getting broken. After that much time, I've actually heard it argued that we should it's precedent. We'll just deal with it. But Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 deals with war, the waging of war. And the distinction in that article is so important. It breaks my heart that it's overlooked. One of the main reasons that we broke away and created this Constitution is to get away from a king or a pharaoh or a religious leader. But we created this constitutional republic. And because kings throughout history, having a bad day, wanting to cover up a scandal in their kingdom, or for whatever reasons, they could just take the country into war, destroying, killing. And I'm going to go through the list. And, you think about how many people died in each one of these wars, how many families are destroyed in each one of these wars that we have gone into as if we had a king. And it's not just our current president who broke the same law. For 10 years, I thought he'd be the one that would come along and not break that law. That's what I heard him say for a decade. But he broke it pretty big. So that's where we're at now. Again, as Bruce was trying to say, and he forgot to mention, my speech is about just gaining consensus, not whether a war should or shouldn't have happened. I want to list some of the engagements that we've done. I don't want to convince you that any one of these wars is right or wrong. My purpose in this speech is just to see if I can gain consensus that we actually do have a law that we are actually breaking, and it's part of our Constitution, and it's incredibly costly. So the distinction of king to president was really an important part of designing this Constitution. Sorry, you can sit on there. So, as I mentioned, so this is, I really want you to kind of take this in. It's kind of in your mind and history and what you know about history, tally up how many lives and families have been destroyed through these illegal wars, starting with the Korean War. That lasted 3 years. President Truman called it a police action. They can break that law if we just call it a police action. Lebanon, Eisenhower deployed Marines. No declaration of war. The Vietnam War, how could we forget? Over a decade, it's based on a false flag, and it was just run into through without law. And there was Cambodia, Dominican Republic from Johnson, Grenada with Reagan, Lebanon. It's a 2-year war that Reagan deployed Marines as peacekeepers. There's another 1984 term, peacekeepers. And I mean, Libya, Reagan attacked in Libya. He wasn't the first, he wasn't the last to do it. And George W. Bush just kind of did the same Venezuela thing and went in and they got Emmanuel Noriega out. And that's another thing on this, all this shifting definitions. If someone came into our country, a group of people, and captured our current president, or any president, and took him away and said, you don't get him, wouldn't you consider that that was an act of war on you? You took away our elected leader. That's kind of an act of war. Well, we've done that a couple of times in history to other countries. Persian Gulf War, man, I mean, that's one that the economic effects. I'm a veteran of the National Guard. In the Persian Gulf War, not only did we get into that with some work around called the AUMF, they brought up to service overseas so many National Guardsmen, dentists, business owners, family men, they joined the National Guard to protect their state. I was a Colorado National Guardsman. I wanted to protect Colorado. That's what I liked about it. And I missed getting deployed. But lots of people I've known, the National Guard got deployed to fight a war where how many people had died, and it wasn't declared. Now, the value of declaring a war in Congress is that you can come up for argument. Discussion. All right, if we do attack Iran, could they retaliate at all the bases that we have all over in footprint? Could they close the Straits of Hormuz? If we could possibly talk about this and banter about it before we just go into it, value of Article 1, Section 8. Because you can't have these kings just running us into these conflicts. So in closing, I just want to reiterate that it's not a king. It's a decision that our constitutional republic is supposed to